your ears. I'm sorry,
It
Rob.
hurt my ears.
Hey, Rob.
Hey, Andrew. We didn't have any good banter before this. You got to have a little.
We did the clapping.
No.
Is it too loud?
No, yeah.
All right.
We don't want to give away our trade secrets.
You mean about podcasting? All the beer ones we can't give away. So many trade secrets.
Yeah.
So many trade secrets.
Hey, Ken's here.
Hi, guys.
Yeah, but we're not starting.
We're not
starting
We
yet?
have to
We're
have
just
good
banter?
banter first.
Good banter.
You can't just go directly into a
We need like 20 seconds of
yammering.
yammering. Arizona is a wildly beautiful place, brimming with over 100 brewing companies. I'm Rob Fulmer, the Executive Director of the Arizona Craft Brewers Guild. I'm joined by Deputy Director Andrew Bauman. Together we cover the state, bringing you the best of what's happening at our breweries and beyond. Welcome to Arizona Beer Frontier.
Well, of course.
Sure. Don't trip on it.
All right, so I'll throw some. I'll the magic of editing. We will get there.
We'll get where?
Unbelievable.
We'll get the little banter in there.
Oh, perfect.
I know there's enough banter in there. I'll figure it out. We'll seamlessly ignore all this part.
Okay. Hi, Rob.
Andrew Bauman, Ken
It's
Wilson.
Ken Wilson.
Hello, gentlemen. Good to see you.
Good to see you
Hey.
too.
Nice to see you guys.
Is this your second appearance?
I think it's my second appearance, yeah.
I think it's the third.
No, it's
boy.
only my second, I think. I might have accidentally been involved in one.
Well, you're accidentally involved in this one.
Yeah, I actually stopped by here for a different reason, but it's always nice to be asked.
We're going to talk about a couple things, but I want to ask you a couple questions. But we're going to talk about the inauguration of the governor and other key state employees very quickly. We're going to talk about the women's collaboration, which occurred at the shop. Did you hear if we have a
Name. I
Name
don't know
in
a
it?
name yet. No.
Okay. All right.
Dang it. You want me- I'll do some research. Hold on. You just keep going.
Right on. We'll briefly mention that there is a new DLLC Director, the Department of Liquor and Licensing Control. We'll tell you what we know. I dropped into a dairyman's meeting here at nearby the office. We might talk about that, but
The United Dairymen of Arizona entire plant is very near the office.
yeah.
That's a heck of a plant.
Cat.
I can milk anything with nipples.
Yeah.
Wow.
exactly,
Okay.
yeah. But they're exceptionally good at it at the Dairyman's.
That's why we keep them around.
Of course. Yeah.
I mean, we just
I have milk as
assume cows, but it's not really necessarily true. We can mention in passing, and maybe you can fill in a detail here that one of the distributors here, Hensley, acquired another distributor in New Mexico. We don't really have any scoop on that. I don't know if you want to.
Yeah, I don't know. There's many details to be known right now, but I think it may offer some opportunities for some of our local suppliers and some of the other suppliers that are involved with Hensley Beverage, and they're a top quality distributor, and so I think that move would have been well thought out and put together, and I would think would affect the market in a positive way here. So we'll see. Like I said, it will remain to see.
Be seen.
Remain to be seen.
Thank you. See what happens, but I think for right now it's an interesting move in the market, and we'll just go from there. Like I said, that's my distributor, and they've been a good partner, and I would assume they continue to be. And maybe this will make them stronger in certain aspects. We'll see.
Sure. With any of these moves, there's opportunities and there's threats. We can only really understand the opportunities right now as we see them. We have no idea what, and we won't talk about any of the cons necessarily of the deal because it's just out there. But like I would think if you were in that house and you wanted to have a more seamless transition to the New Mexico market, it might help you a little bit. Hensley is probably one of the most successful bud houses in the country. Like it's one of the largest in the country.
For sure.
It's no secret that it's Cindy McCain, who is now she was an ambassador and now she's leading the World Health Organization. So, as an outsider, you'd think, well, maybe they're looking to separate a little bit from that business, but this would indicate the opposite. So it just remains to be seen. And we thought we'd mention that. I haven't seen anything written about it in any of the trades, so
Yeah, well, I think it's the season here in Arizona started off with Sazerac moving over to Breakthrough Beverage from RNDC, and I think that'll just be a series of moves that you'll see throughout the year, not just locally but nationwide. Consolidation continues. I think it had a pause during COVID as everyone kind of held the line, and I think now there'll be movement not just in Arizona but around. But we've already seen 2 moves here in Arizona in the first 2 weeks. So what that means with regards to brands, I don't know. But nationwide, I mean, the wholesalers are consolidating, and there's opportunities for them. So I would expect those would continue. And I think distributorships face similar things that our craft brewers face, in the fact that there are some smaller ones that offer different things. At the same time, larger distributors are consolidating just like brands are, where there's opportunity. And some of these distributor heads are getting older and looking to sell and move on. And there's always an opportunity around the corner for anybody. So we'll see.
Sure. When these things happen and brands move, they might move because of other. If they're either in a Budweiser house, which we call the Red Network, Miller Coors, which we call the Blue. Do they even say Miller Coors now? Or it's just Coors Molson. Molson
Coors, or yeah.
It's Blue Network. The Yellow Network is kind of a virtual network because they use different partners. That's Constellation brands.
All right.
There's a Blue Mist network developing, which is the Pepsi
Blue Cloud.
Blue Cloud. There you go. Blue Mist, Blue Cloud. That's potentially leveraging the.
But those are just branded wholesalers.
But in that case, they're potentially using Pepsi trucks to move
right
beer. My point is, when these bigger mergers occur, they want to be in the same house, right?
Right. So if, for example,
well, you mentioned Stone.
Well,
Yeah.
that's one thing. But one example that you can show that's done without speculating is Avery moved to Hensley to align with Founders, which is owned by Mahau and San Miguel, and so that just takes advantage of the scale and trucking and shipping.
and I mean, there's a whole lot of that
been
going
things
on
in
in
the
the East Coast, especially with the Sam Adams and Dogfish Head merger. A lot of realignment happening in that, and contentious. Ooh.
Some of them, yeah.
Yeah.
And then there's states where the franchise law is very strong. And I'm not sure, I asked someone this earlier, but Nevada was the last state where Miller Coors weren't in the same house. And in fact, I believe Stella is not in the Bud House there because it was owned by a different brand before it came under the umbrella of InBev AB distribution. So, some of these laws are so strong, there's no moving unless there's,
Sure.
it takes 2 to tango, as they say.
So again, potentially, and the last time this happened was when Alliance decided to shut all their brands, and there was some movement. What potentially could happen is a move is made. There's some load balancing that needs to occur locally, and so some brands will be offered up to other distributors. It could end up to be this big baseball style trade where there's some brands moving, and a distributor that isn't even aligned with any of this decides they want to make a deal. What people who are consumers may not understand is this is a franchise state, and the rights of these breweries to be with their distributors is different than any other type of industry. So there's a contract that you have as a supplier, as a brewery, with your distributor, but there is an overarching law that could void any contract. And essentially, it's to protect the distributors from brands moving around and their investments being for naught if brands move around a lot. It's a vestige of the fact that in the every period up until the 90s, distributors were family, small businesses. The breweries were the big corporate giants. It's kind of flip-flop now with craft beer. The craft beer brewers are the family businesses. There's been a lot more consolidation with distributors. So in terms of winners and losers, we just have to wait and see.
Yeah. Well, and it's every industry that's consolidating, and even as Clemenza explains to Michael Corleone, every 5 years we got to shake it up a little bit. There's got to be awarded, balance the power of the 5.
Well, there
families.
might even be some distributors who currently aren't in the beer space that want to go back to it.
Right, and that's the fun part about. Yeah, I mean, when I say the fun part, I mean I've always enjoyed just the industry in general, right? And it's the nuances of franchise law or rights of breweries and things like that. So it's interesting to see that kind of all the players do have different moves that happen year to year, and some, where, like I said, maybe there was kind of COVID where nothing really happened, and now things start to happen again. So it's part of the industry, and what makes it fun and something to follow.
Sure. And we're going to have the guild's lobbyist and attorney on in a couple weeks to talk about the law changes that we're asking for and the likelihood of those being passed. So if anyone has any questions, let us know. Maybe we can put those forward on the show. But what else we got going on in the news? The Brewers Association is changing their due structure. We've changed our due structure a little bit. It's tough out there for organizations like ours. We have to do more with less. There's still struggles with events. We have an event coming up, and we're pushing really hard. And how well that event does or doesn't do, it sort of dictates
a lot of what's going on. Yeah,
dictates our man hours, our resources, the direction that we go, and we'll see what that works out too.
I got the email right before we started from our agency promoting the event. So we'll see if that gives us a nice big weekend push for some ticket sales. We get that email every Monday updating it. So that's cool.
Yeah. So, I mean, when we have a good festival in February, Strong Beer, and things are a little easier for us to navigate. We obviously didn't have it over the pandemic, so we can make adjustments, but the longer that we have to do that, the more that we put some of these things that we're working on at risk, and that includes having these good relationships with legislators and so forth.
Legislators who, in our legislature, there are 60 members, and 31 of them are freshmen.
Yeah,
or returning after being skipped for
just a couple of them. Yeah.
So freshmen, all of them, and still at 31-29 on the Republican Democrat mix.
Yeah. And
so,
they did
Arizona,
they redid the district maps. So all those district signs that you might see in some of the breweries, it says this is your district. We have to update those, and that's going to be a long process. I guess we have the balance of 10 years, but
10 years to do.
I like to get that taken care of.
Okay. Well, and if you have one of these signs in your brewery, you could take some blue tape and just write the new district on it.
Thanks.
And then Andrew or Rob will come and bring you in.
You know what I like to call this? Innovation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what
Good
we do
job.
best. I think we do that. We're really good at that.
Innovation.
And Strong Beer Fest
Blue
is going to
tape.
be awesome this year. New venue, great access in and out, parking. So there's good load in, load out for vendors. It's going to be a nice day for people that are coming out. I think it's going to be the best one we've had yet. I think people are really excited about the proximity to Old Town, which we've had before, and then freeway access is always nice too. So looking forward to seeing everybody again this year. And whoever stole my Nerf football last year, you're banned from the park.
Oh, that's yikes. It's going to be tough.
Sorry, I had to ban someone because I was breaking down and I turned my back and someone stole my Nerf football that I was throwing before the fest, and now it's gone.
Someone
so I
stole
bought another one, but I'm not bringing it this year. It's my kid's ball.
Someone stole our hand truck. That was also loaded up with some non-alcoholic brews that I was very excited to take home.
Yeah.
They just rolled away those 4 cases of non-A beer and threw the entire thing in their car and left.
There's some good non-alc beer out there, and I've been trying to like.
And our hand truck.
The hand truck's the big one. Someone stole one of mine at a festival, and I stickered up mine now. So
Ours is all stickered up.
If you're watching the video, I'm pointing to a hop light. If you're not watching the video, listen to the podcast. It's a green cone. It's supposed to be
cool.
a pine cone, but it looks like a hop because I have a green bulb in there. It's a hop light.
It is. It's
I had one of those at Real Wild and Woody, and someone stole it. And that
Shut
is
the front door.
That is not a inexpensive light.
When was that?
So anybody coming out should get one of
3
those
or 4 years
wallet
ago.
chains.
I will hunt and destroy you if I know that you took that.
Oh, boy.
That's like $150 light. It doesn't look like it, but that's what it is.
I didn't realize it was that much when I took it.
Hey,
You should put a tile on it.
I got one other topic that I know that you might be able to weigh in because you've been in this industry a while. And again, this is something that we're announcing.
Hey,
that
Ken,
we know.
how long you been in this industry?
Oh, God, don't ask anymore.
Give him a number. Come on, give me a number.
Oh, well, when I got out of no,
No,
I've
okay, never mind.
been in the industry that 28 years in May, and I started with Guinness Import Company in Phoenix, and then spent 2 years in Denver after that, and then moved on through imports and craft, and now here I am.
Great.
And I've been at Lumberyard for 11 years.
Cool.
Yeah, it's good stuff. It's great stuff. We've got great stuff going on this year. So yes, a long time.
So we We know that there is a new liquor department director. It is a political appointment. There was some hope that we would retain the previous one because they had only served partial term, and they were working on some things, and some things were in progress. And when we support our businesses, we want consistency, we want predictability, and so we're in this period of we'll wait and see. He has an extensive
The new department director has an extensive history.
Law enforcement history.
Uh-huh.
His name is Ben
Heard?
Ben Heard, yes. And we have yet to meet him. We were supposed to meet him this week, but it didn't work out. So we've had people like Director Everett years ago, who was more business focused. We've had others that are law enforcement focused. I think a lot of the stakeholders would prefer someone who's business focused. We'll have to wait and see. The reason is that this is there's a lot of laws in our books and rules, and it takes the cooperation of industries to say, oh, we agree with these rules, or we don't agree with these rules, we're going to follow these rules. A lot of it's not court tested. A lot of it, if no one transgresses the violation, or if it doesn't surface to light to be unfair or any way, a lot of them are untested. So there's not a lot of case law, and so it's not a necessarily black or white issue. It's not like
obviously you did this, and it says you can't.
Right. I mean, if you murder somebody, they're clearly dead. It's more like a speeding ticket, but not really even that. It can, and sometimes the enforcement. It's more we want to educate the industry. This is the right practice. We don't
unlimited mimosa is fine.
No.
Well, I think what's important in what you're saying, and I think that's really the message here. Anytime there's a change in leadership at DLLC, it's important to kind of pay attention to what become their priorities and how that's going to affect your business. So I think working with the guild, groups like ALBA, and just paying attention.
Arizona Licensed Beverage Association.
Thank you very much. I think that's one thing that I've watched with our brewery, and even previously when I was just a supplier rep for a company that wasn't based here, paying attention to what those laws were, whether that's licensing, what you can do, and because they will focus on things that will be more of their pet projects. And I think it's important to know. I mean, obviously we all work within the law. I'm not questioning that, but we just want to make sure we're really taking care of the things that are important to the DLLC if they come looking for things that we're prepared to show them, to demonstrate to them that we're adhering to the law.
In some cases, and actually most cases, the director and the department has signaled to us and to each and every stakeholder, here are the things that we're focusing on.
Right.
And
Underage buying.
exactly, or certain trade practices, or they will ask us, what is your experience with these trade practice violations? Is it a problem? And they will have a feedback loop, and we'll say, well, it's not so much of a problem, but this is the problem. And in some cases, there are willing parties who know that this is a problem, but we're trying to all arrive at the best way to solve it, because the solution sometimes begets bigger problems. So it's a cooperative balance a lot of times, and hopefully that's the kind of relationship that we'll have with this director. In the past, other directors have said, hey, you have a certain number of your business units that are not up to date on this thing, and if you don't reach out to them very quickly, they're going to walk in with violations. And that's a great thing to hear as a director of an organization. Like, I have an opportunity to fix that, and everybody wins.
Right.
So hopefully that's going to be the direction. And we won't talk about trade practice so much, but we have Camila next in a couple weeks, and that's under her purview, helping guide us through that and negotiating that with the department. So I'm pretty excited about that. You've been in this a long time. You've seen these things happen. Again, you mentioned,
I mean, I've seen enforcement where a liquor agent will come in and measure the mirrors in your bar, and if they were too big, if it had utility and you hung a certain mirror of oversized that had a brand logo on it and you didn't pay for it, you were in violation, and they would write tickets for it. Because you could, and the utility of it is you're replacing that bathroom mirror with a beer mirror, and you can check your hair, you can check your tie.
That's the utility part.
That's the utility part. So it is very interesting to see how they will enforce things early on, but I've seen it as extreme as that. that they're measuring mirrors that are oversized.
Yeah.
So
I saw something that was kind of interesting to me was that at a retail account there was a sticker that had a QR code link to their menu that was branded with a supplier brand. Is that utility value?
if they paid for it,
I think you could argue that a lot, but I mean,
you could have the
I just
logo there
wondered.
as long
Yeah.
as you could have the logo there as long as they weren't paying for the service that the platform was on. Right, just like you can have a menu that has
You can have a
all of
coaster
our logos on it,
with
a
your brand
coaster
on
with
it.
your brand on it. So
But
it'd be the
it's
same thing. But
their brand and your brand. When
I
you
think
put both brands together is where the problem is.
sure. Well, I think it's all on the impact. I mean, we could go down that route, but I'll tell you when it helps to sort of exaggerate a situation, and in this case, it wasn't necessarily exaggerated. Some of the details I'll fill in are part of explaining the story. So I don't know if this literally happened. But you can imagine if I own a liquor store and like I want to paint the thing because it's the paint's falling off, the place looks crappy, and a distributor comes in and says, well, I can't paint your building, but I can put a wrap around the entire building, which I've seen, branded wrap,
Yeah.
with no special focus on the business, so you can't put the business name on an exterior sign,
Right.
or you can't put things that it has to be generic messaging. Like that messaging could be on any building, but like literally wrapped one of the
whole building.
Yeah. It's like one of those pillbox liquor stores.
Sure.
Wrapped the whole building. Like the guy didn't have to paint his thing.
the store by my house is wrapped that way. I'm
That
not mad.
depending on the circumstances, that could be an illegal practice.
Yeah.
Especially if and again, I made that part up about painting the building, but like you can understand, like, hey, that's a thing of value now. I don't have to
thing of
worry
value,
about
yeah.
painting the building.
I happened to run across the TTB circular for trade practice, which then led me into social media. The TTB circular on social media that came out last year. Whoa, that is some deep stuff.
Well, that's a classic.
No one is following those rules.
Well, that's a classic example if they go to enforce that. Like in Southern California and in Michigan, those things were enforced, and so suppliers are very cautious of what they post. As account favoritism or things like that. And it hasn't really been pushed here, but it could.
But-
all the more reason to pay attention to who your new director is and what their priorities are. Because
Yeah.
like you said, the TTB is pretty clear on some of those things.
and they're ramping up enforcement too, but
Yeah.
they're requiring like links to the Surgeon General warning, all kinds of stuff. If you have a picture of a beer and you're a manufacturer, you have to have a link to the Surgeon General warning.
Those are things that are out for comment right now. Is that correct?
I don't think so.
I think
That's a circular, which is establishing something that's in.
Well,
I don't know,
there's
whatever.
there's all the way kind of ways to look at liquor license law that some things are not enforceable. I mean, there's an example, and I think Craig Miller brings this example up. You see the homecoming queen riding in the king and queen in the car. They don't have a seatbelt on. They're technically breaking the law, but
Yeah.
you know what I mean? So you got to be careful
Right,
as to
right.
what you do and how things are interpreted. And it goes back to if you have any questions, use the guild as a resource. Camila's going to be on next week, so any questions you might have before that.
Yeah, I love that analogy, man.
I think that's, and I'm not sure Craig said that,
Yeah.
but it seems like I heard him say that.
Craig Miller is a former liquor department agent who is now with Arizona Liquor Industry Consultants, and they help with trade practice and licensing, and they do similar things to Camila, but not the same. Camila's a lawyer; they're an agency. But
you get good perspective from both on how to approach the market. I mean, where one may be a little more focused, and one's by the letter, and the other's by the street, and somewhere in the middle is your answer. But anyway, fellas, I got to take off.
Yeah, no.
I've got a 1:30 appointment. It's great to see you. Happy New Year!
Is it
I'm
already
excited for a new
1:30?
year.
Jeez.
I'm excited for beer to make a big bounce back this year. And,
This is great. We need to take a beer break anyway.
yeah. All right,
Oh, good idea.
Hey,
All right, we can be back now. I think.
can we?
Yeah, I think so. Okay. Hey, Rob, welcome back.
Thank you.
It was great hanging out with you for the last few minutes in the office.
It was good to have Ken here, and to all of our industry friends.
Yeah.
If we happen to have the mics live, and
Sure.
you're welcome to sit in and chat if you want.
Yeah.
we're here in the office in Tempe occasionally, or give us a heads up. Or if you have an
we
idea,
we can be around.
yeah, or if you're just conducting normal business. I'm going to open up this thing from Trader Joe's, and I'm like, apparently we're doing, this is non-alcoholic. This is sparkling apple cider vinegar
Beverage.
Yeah.
Yeah. Rob was surprised. This is not surprising to me. I do a lot of those alternative beverage things like kombucha and stuff. I'm on that section of the store. And
So you've had this before.
I haven't, not the Trader Joe's brand, and it's been a while. And the one I had was super vinegary and not pleasant.
Yeah.
We'll see how this goes. I'm give it a shot. What's the flavor? Apple?
Apple cider vinegar, ginger lemon. Oh, this
Ginger
is
lemon.
in your
Great.
wheelhouse, right? This is your flavor profile, yeah? Ginger lemon.
Except for that apple cider vinegar thing. So, why do they do it?
I'm okay with it.
So
It's like a liquid sweet tart or
no,
something.
it's not. It's so
Not without the
gross.
sugar.
That will not win any awards. From
You're wearing the
Arizona
award
Craft
still.
Beer Awards.
Oh man, I gave you that silver medal for your beer service today. You poured the first beer. I don't deserve a medal for this. No, so this came up
so
because
gross.
I just happened to be a while back, a year ago. So like everyone's predicting trends, and I was reminded there was a prediction a year ago or so. It wasn't my prediction. But I was like, okay, I got to see that. Is when are we going to get to the era of savory seltzers, savory alcoholic seltzers? This is not savory by any means. And I happened to be in a Asian grocery store, and I noticed they had vegetarian fish sauce. I'm like, well, clearly there has to be a vegetarian fish sauce, organic hard seltzer.
Give me that other one.
All right.
I can't. This is not my dump glass.
No, it's not your dump glass.
It is now.
All right, it's my dump glass too. But I made that one I think it's beer. Well, it's not really that beer clean. All right. So you're taking a lot less. Oh, you're rinsing out.
I'm rinsing
Oh, well,
in hopes
you
that
can use
this-
a generous amount to rinse here, Andrew. Like I don't think we're saving this for. I guarantee if this ends up your favorite beverage, I'll go pick some more up. So feel free to. I'm gonna go strong pour and
Well, they overpower the disgustingness with a lot of other flavors. I mean, very heavily like berry flavored,
Yeah.
where I don't even get the apple cider vinegar in this.
all right. We're not going to take an official break, but I think we need to reset. I mean, there'll be this magical cut and we'll be back. It's really unfair that there's no segue going to the Northern Seven.
I know.
This is
Well, I'm breathing deeply though.
which one would you like to try first?
I'm back.
Oh, it's a lemon ginger.
Great. Let's do that.
Lemon ginger. You tell everyone what this is.
Northern Seven is a seltzer made by Wanderlust Brewing Company in Flagstaff, Arizona. And I love that little brewery. They have a 3-barrel system. They opened about the same time as I started brewing at the Perch, and I just dig them.
So the other non-alcohol products that we will not actually name anymore, but that had a nice robust head. There's not going to be the body to create a head here, so cheers. This is lemon ginger.
I mean, it's not like we're going to say, man, that's gross.
No,
But it's not gross.
what's the AB? 110 calories, vegan, gluten-free, 22 carbs. ABV is 5. Okay, all right.
You were a little heavy on that pour because honestly, there's 2 other flavors we have to get
Well, no,
through.
but we'll sprinkle them in the rest of the show. We're not going to.
Okay.
So we can.
I didn't know that was what was going on. I was like, well, I can't drink like 6 ounces, 6 ounces, and 6 ounces in like 4 minutes.
Totally get it.
Okay.
Hey, so we're going to rewind the clock back a little bit.
Okay.
And Thursday a week ago, there was an inauguration,
Oh yeah, that's right.
which I went to, and I hope. Well, I was just gonna say, I hope it doesn't take, more than a couple years for you to be. It's gonna take at least 4 years.
4 years, probably about. I mean,
Yeah,
could
I
be
mean,
more.
Yeah. It was. I had gone to the. I took my father to the Governor Ducey inauguration, and I also dropped my
Who
phone.
paid for the Governor Ducey inauguration?
A whole host of sponsors. I don't know.
Oh, that sounds like dark money. That was sarcasm. See what I did?
Yeah. Yeah, that is an interesting aspect of it. It's sponsored by people, and I guess there was some controversy over where there was a lot of clarity who was sponsoring what. It is what it is. There was also a controversy because they were using prison labor to do some of the setup. But I will tell you that
It was only an internal, 5 people saw that tweet.
I know,
It
but
didn't make the news.
here's the thing:
Yeah.
they use prison labor to clean the grounds, to do all kinds of stuff, and they have as long as I've ever been on the Capitol, which is
Right.
9-ish years. So I had taken my father to the Ducey inauguration, and as soon as I got him in the car, I dropped my phone. I tried to do a kick save, to blunt
Yeah.
and I kicked it in the street, and a car ran over it. So that was.
That's a way to kick off.
I wanted.
That's a way to kick off.
It's
the
no way-
governor's 8 years.
It's no way indicative. We made a lot of progress with that governor for
Yeah.
our beer bills. We hope to have the same record with the new governor. Our issues are not necessarily partisan, and so But the transition period, as we mentioned, we have a new liquor department director. We'll have to wade through that, but that's what our job is to sort of smooth out these edges for our businesses and so on and so forth. But it was a great opportunity to connect with some people. They put on an amazing program with a lot of native tribe involvement. I'll try to sprinkle in some video from the video cast. If you're watching the video, we have a YouTube channel. If you're listening, we try our best to describe things that you can't see, but it was there's a lot of written about it, but these things are performative. They're forgotten about once everyone rolls their sleeves up and gets to the Capitol. The session started on Monday.
We had a State of the State address,
Yeah.
which was controversial. Everyone expected pretty much a softball, and I don't think she went in with a softball.
No. But again, I think these things are, if people hang on to any of the rhetoric in these things, I think it's at their own peril, because I think there's a willingness to get things done down there. And,
Good. Great.
And I think, I have amazing optimism for this year. And we'll talk about some of the changes that we're expecting when Camila, Alarcon, our liquor attorney lobbyist, comes on in a couple weeks. So,
Not to get too far ahead of ourselves, but
Yeah.
she's the one to have here when we want to talk about these things, because
Yeah.
she knows better than anyone exactly what happens down there, because she's there a lot.
Exactly. I did have a conversation with the Arizona Secretary of State, Adrian Fontes. I suggested that they bring back the Series 5 state liquor license to the grounds, so that we may be able to do, it may be easier for us to do some events that have alcohol. And also, there is a Don Bullis Memorial Bill out there, and I hope that passes, so they will dedicate some memorial space for journalist Don Bullis, who was
Infamously
assassinated.
murdered.
I would say assassinated.
Yes.
His car was rigged with explosives, and he passed away over a series of a couple days. He was investigating.
Lived 11 days. Oh,
He was investigating corruption. There were some possible liquor concerns that may have been implicated in it. It's an unsolved mystery, for that matter. But they
it's a
want
good thing that no one wants to look into it.
Well, they hope to have a memorial, and when they do get the law passed, they need to raise funds, and I would like to say that I'll do my best to help raise those funds, using the tools that we have for fundraising.
Right. They will get the law passed that it can exist, and then they have to design it, and then they have to fund it privately. No state funds are
Sure.
going to it. Right.
Secretary of State Fontes was very excited about that. But as a footnote, I think Michelle Reagan, the former Secretary of State 8 years ago, was the first to implement it. It took a lot of us by surprise, and I don't think any brewery, distributor, distiller, vintner really understood or took advantage of it. And I hope that we can change that, and we can. They had a gift store, and I think they needed some help, and they didn't ask. So now
Rob just switched back to the talk about the license when we were talking about the memorial, and then
well, yeah, no, I'm just saying that I wanted to leave everybody the impression that because I said I spoke to him, but they don't know what he said. I just was relaying that he gave it a thumbs up, and
great.
And it was a lot of excitement because by the time I went to the inauguration reception, people had already circled back and had heard that we had talked about it. So that's very encouraging.
Awesome.
Yeah. No, it's super awesome.
Yeah.
And one of our friends in the industry, former ska beer representative, current owner of the Main Ingredient for many years, Ron Amnius.
Ron Amnius. Yeah.
He was there, and I think a lot of people were surprised that he owns a suit, much less can master the look.
Owns a suit that's not like checkerboard.
Well, he still had the ska music feel to it. Let me tell you. Like, I don't know if he had the white socks and black shoes. I don't recall that part, but it is a black suit. He looked good in it, and it was good to see him. So that was a fun day, and it led up to the women's collaboration beer, which
On Friday.
yeah, at the shop.
That was cool.
And we are understanding now that it still does not have a name. It is a hazy style beer. Proceeds are going to women's shelters. It should be available February 13th. There are no allocations, so if you're a retailer listening right now, you can get on the stick right now, and if you want to work that personal relationship with some of the people at the shop, or you can get your dialing fingers ready for on telesales with Hensley, February 13th is the day.
Tell us. Get your dialing. They might have a Hensley wrap. Who knows?
I don't know. We were talking about old school things there.
Yeah. The phone booth.
Do you know, years ago I went to a talk at Taste of Tops, believe it or not, with Fritz Maytag, the founder.
Cool.
No, he wasn't the founder. He had purchased.
Right.
Basically, he's the godfather of craft beer through Anchor and Anchor Steam. He told us that the biggest transformative technological advance that he felt was responsible for their rebirth of that brand was the mobile phone. And he told us that he had this giant mobile phone and it cost $1 million, but they could walk out of a bar, put an order in, and things could be in process immediately. All of his competitors would go to 5-6 places, then find a phone booth and call somebody, a secretary, read it over, and then and if they did it at the end of the day, they lost an entire day. In the meantime, he's able to have his salespeople. I don't know. Thought it was fascinating.
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah. All right. So women's collaboration beer.
Oh, I mean, there were so many people there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like 50? How many were in the picture? And that wasn't
60.
even.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, there were 2 pictures. We'll post both of them on the video. But you might have seen it in social media. They took it from the office on the brew deck, and there's not a lot of room between the office and the brew deck. I didn't think they had enough focal length to figure that out. I had to stand in the open doorway and back out a little bit. So I have the eye level shot, and they have the above shot. So I don't know. We can count once we find that photo.
It's a lot.
Yeah. The character of that event changes depending on the brewery. This was very informal. They took over the entire patio area. There were, it was just groups of people getting together, catching up, because this is one of the, I know the pandemic was a while ago, but not that long ago. But I would say this is probably in the top 10 things that people had an opportunity to get together and remember what it was like before
Yeah.
all that and catch up. And it's always a different mix, so it was good. We had people.
I mean, there were new people in the industry that started since then.
Yeah. I remember there's a few people there from the first days of the first one, which was at Huss. So, and then there was new people too, and it was good you can't talk to everybody though. You can't meet everybody. It's a shame, but it is what it is, right?
Yeah, and not everyone that wants to be there can make it. Even people who sign up to be there, stuff happens and they can't be there. So it would be, I don't know, maybe it becomes a 2-day thing. I don't know. A brew day is a brew day.
I'm just
I know,
happy.
but,
I'm just happy it worked out.
maybe there can be a packaging day and we get everyone in to fill tags.
The packaging has happened. I remember at Santan, some of the women worked the line. I think it happened. Boy, almost every one. Someone wanders into the brewery and starts helping package. They weren't packaging today or that day at the shop, but the thing that's different about this, the thing that makes this unique, is just the sheer number of people.
Right.
And also, when you do a collaboration beer, there are some people actually working in the brewery, working on the actual brew itself. There are people who everybody's taking a look at the sheet. So those are things that you normally just don't walk into a brewery and have access to.
Right. It is cool.
And also they talk about the name and the sales, and occasionally they have they get to dictate the style, but not always. And
There's it's the work that leads up to that where
Sure.
all that comes through.
right. But there's not a lot of breweries that will provide that access, and when they do, it's handled differently. Sometimes, it's if you're a brewery worker, you might say, well, we would have done this better or differently, or, oh, this is cool. Like, everyone gets to see the difference, and, everyone gets an opportunity to say, if I worked here, I think it would be great, or I could contribute this. I think it's a little bit more, the insights are more career focused than some of the ones that you and I go to when it's just, we're just brewing a beer, we're going to have lunch, we're trying these other beers. It's a little different experience.
I don't know, man. I've always found that collabs, like it, when there's like 2 or 3 of each brewery there, and they're hands-on and they see the different things. It's not always, you can see different ways people do the same process, and you take that home with you. And I think that's one of the big values of the collab. Of course, there's the value of building community, but I think that because so many of the people in this industry don't have the formal training, when they end up standing next to someone who did go through that formal training or who's worked at Four Peaks, where it's a lot more
Sure.
industrial and very regimented, and that comes through with a lot of professionalism and learning, that when you're working with that person, you see some things they do different. You go, oh, wow, that makes a lot of sense. And then that person might look and be like, oh, I never thought I could just do it that way because I've always done it this way. I think there's so much value in collaborations. It's amazing.
Yeah. And you mentioned Four Peaks. Melissa Osborne was there. Her husband dropped by from Pedal House for a while. Derek Osborne. A bunch of people from, let's see, there seems to be a road crew, right? Ayla from Borderlands. Norm from Barrio, Julie from Crooked Tooth. I'm not going to name them all because I'm going to forget, but they sort of like rally and drive in the same car on the way up.
Yeah,
and
it's cool.
Yeah, it is pretty cool. So again, look for that beer around February 13th, which will kind of like sort of fold into Arizona Beer Week.
I know they're also going to have events. They're going to
Yeah.
have launch events for that beer throughout the state. That's cool.
We'll certainly make note of it. There's another women's collaboration that occurs in March.
Oh, hey, hold on a second.
Ish. Yeah.
So we're going to have to get those on the calendar.
Yes.
ChooseAZBrews.com.
Yep.
Events calendar.
Yeah.
So if you're looking for where it's going to happen, that's a good place to look. In addition to social media with your favorite brewery. And then you're mentioning March 8th is International Women's Day.
Right.
I know that Greenwood Brewing is going to do a collaboration that day and is inviting other breweries to come in and hang out and
That's the one I know about, but typically there might be more than one.
Yeah.
I don't know. And so that's another opportunity
Right.
for this kind of experience if you're in the industry. And you mentioned our website. Arizona Beer Week is also open right now for any events that people have. We're reviewing and approving those.
Got a couple more in today.
Nice.
Every day, more coming in, and they're going to my email alerting me now.
Right. We hope to round those off pretty soon and at least have, some highlights. So if you are sitting on the fence about adding your event, I would do it now because I'm going to get a call in a couple weeks and they're going to want to get a magazine that write about it or a newspaper, or we'll get a live TV hit. And I need to rattle off 5 or 6 things. And so to me, let's close out with this idea.
Okay. Wait.
What are the things? We'll close out with this idea.
Okay.
And we might talk about it for an hour. I don't know.
Great.
Probably won't. Is what are the kinds of things that make a good beer event for a beer week for you? Right. So I don't think you necessarily have to do what you've seen in the past. I don't think you certainly can. You certainly can lead with rare beer or unusual beer. If that's your brewery's thing, or even if it's not your brewery's thing, and that's something you want to show that you have some depth and some breadth to what you're doing, certainly do that. But it doesn't have to be always about beer.
I can tell you one of the most fun beer events I went to was at Tipsy Cactus. It was last December 2021, and Billy McGovern had a make a Christmas ornament event. Clear Christmas balls. She brought grains, she brought hops, she brought stickers, she brought ribbons, and she had Shiner beer there, and everyone was making ornaments, and it was super fun. And you show each other your ornaments. Look what I did here. Look what I did. I mean, yes, I'm a super nerd, but that was a super fun event. I didn't get to go this year. I'm sad, but
I think it would have been much funnier if you would have sprinkled the word balls in there a few more times. You can show everyone your balls.
look at this.
It only got in my head because Ken was goofing over here about that sweaty balls thing.
Yeah, that was funny.
All right, I'm drinking this one. This is kiwi lime hard seltzer. You can open that one maybe, or you want to try? Oh, all right, we're doing all right. I thought we were.
I mean, just pour me a little. You can have the rest.
No, I'm just.
Yeah. All right, kiwi lime. Look how clear that is. Wow.
Yeah.
Light, but lime.
Yeah.
I mean,
I sometimes joke that like breweries make things with papaya, yuzu fruit, kiwi, but does anyone really eat those directly?
right.
I know you just ate a cucumber yesterday, just right up.
Yeah, I eat it like an apple. Like
Yeah.
you don't have to slice those things; you just eat them.
Yeah.
How about Pepsi Mango?
Pepsi Mango
Goes so good with
pairs with everything, or pairs well. That's what it say.
pairs well.
We had an internet outage here, and Andrew went to Pepsi.com so that he knew the page.
We still have an internet
I
outage.
know.
Apparently,
He said
It's
he
been
thought
like
the
an
page
hour.
would not be cached, so that we would be indicator if we were up or down. We're down, but yeah,
For a moment, we were
that was on the page. Yes,
we were back with Mango Pepsi.
Mango Pepsi. Which
Mango's such a hot flavor in beer right now. Like,
sure,
Totally.
and everyone's looking to Pepsi as to what they're going to do with this. I was going to come up with another blue cloud. I called it Blue Mist with their distribution network. Speaking of trade practice from earlier show, like I'm, there are people saying like this whole Mountain Dew thing is going to cause a problem with trade practice and how they are displaying that product and where they're displaying that product in grocery stores, and that'll be an interesting little wrinkle.
so if you imagine that beer distributors have people on trucks that take the beer off the truck and put it into a store. They're going to the beer section, right? If you have guys on a Pepsi truck who take that product off the Pepsi truck, they're going to the Pepsi aisle. So the occasion for an error in putting something that shouldn't be on the Pepsi aisle on the Pepsi aisle is much higher than with a traditional beer distributor.
Yeah.
The other issue being slotting fees.
Right.
How deep do we want to go, really? Like slotting
Yeah.
fees, Pepsi pays for every single facing in every
Right.
single store. Well, I mean, not every single one, but
Sure.
many times they pay for that place to put that Pepsi.
Right.
So if they start paying more and they get more facings for their hard Mountain Dew, is that hard Mountain Dew being paid for by those Pepsi slotting fees, or is that just a coincidence?
Sure.
And that's where it gets gray.
Sure. Even take the money out of it,
Okay.
like, because that is an issue. But let's just take the money out.
yeah.
Every square inch of that floor is accounted for, and everything has to be approved. And so they don't just get to put floor displays. That's where you see the cases of beer or whatever product stacked on the floor, and sometimes there's signage, and sometimes they make creative things out of it.
Super Bowl display.
Right, those are
for
all
Bud Light.
approved in advance, and generally the beer will be in the beer aisle, but it doesn't always have to be. They actually do some market studies, like, oh well, if you're picking up beer, you're picking these other items. This is why you will see, like, on the on a beverage cooler, you'll see some other things that are associated. In my college Safeway,
Yeah.
the beer cup, the beer pong cups
Hanging in the
just happen to be right there.
right.
So there's a history of this. So you might see diapers and beer in the same area, or that might be an apocryphal story that didn't actually happen, but that's the kind of thing that you might see. The new controversy, though, is like, well, this is a beverage that has a tie to Mountain Dew. It has a tie to soft drink, very, very strong, and it's a little more jarring, and people are more conscious of the fact, like, you have an alcoholic product now that's not in the alcohol section, and that is giving some people a little pause.
Because they're used to seeing Mountain Dew everywhere in the store.
Right.
And it's often consumed by people in the
Underage category.
non-21 range.
So I was thinking about this the other day. So Mountain Dew was the slang term during the bootlegging era for moonshine.
Yeah.
Moonshine. And the company was created to add to moonshine to make it much more
Palatable?
widely accepted, palatable. So that's the Mountain Dew soda. And so it's a NA brand that started as a reference to an alcoholic brand that was non-alcoholic for most of its existence, and now it's potentially
Yeah.
an alcoholic brand, which, you can imagine in 20 years, maybe there is no more non-alcohol brand of it, and it's completely transformed, or vice versa.
Right.
It's like calling it you know how there was always a guitar. They had electricity. There's electric guitar. And can you imagine, like, if for some reason there was never ever another acoustic guitar, like, they would just, the electric guitar would be the guitar, and all of a sudden someone's like, hey, I have this non-electric guitar. We'll call it a non-electric guitar. That's what it's like, right?
I wanted what would you call it? The soft Mountain Dew?
Yeah.
Or like if you're in Oregon, let's go out for a beer. It's assumed to be a craft beer. Let's go. You wouldn't say let's go out for a Bud.
Right.
It would just be weird.
Somebody is born today that may live in a world where Mountain Dew is completely alcoholic, and it's ridiculous to think that it
And
would
we're
ever
on the
be
Wayback Machine listening to this podcast. Like, what are these crazy people talking
right.
about?
And like some upstart young brand manager in his 30s goes like, I have a great idea. Let's take the alcohol out of Mountain Dew and make it Mountain Dew.
But on the other hand, like, what about alcoholic Sprite? Right? It could be a thing. It's like a seltzer, except just put it in the beer aisle. And now it's Sprite.
I
mean,
think
where
we
does
really
where do
need
you go with it?
I think circumstances has led us to the conclusion that Pepsi Mango
Needs to be
alcoholized.
boozy. And also, if you want to go farther, like orange juice, that's not good. You don't want alcohol.
Have you ever had accidentally fermented orange juice? It's basically spoiled orange juice.
How about milk? What?
Yeah. So yeah, like no one's gonna know this. Laverne and Shirley, like Laverne would drink Pepsi and milk. Alcoholized milk, Pepsi Mango.
I did not know that she drank Pepsi and milk. I saw a lot of Laverne and Shirley in my time.
It sounds gross. It probably is, but it's basically if you have ever had a float,
Yeah,
it's dairy and
sure.
I mean it's maybe
All
more
right,
sugar. It's ice cream and Pepsi.
Yeah, I read. I mean, I was watching a video about it. It doesn't matter. Sorry. I went off the tracks for a second. I'm fine now.
That's what we're all about right now.
Yeah.
That's what the kind of thing that
Happy Friday.
if you're drinking a Northern 7 seltzer.
Yeah.
Can happen.
This time, the flavor is prickly pear grapefruit. I don't see a red light.
Oh, no, that's no good.
Prickly pear seltzer. Prickly pear grapefruit hard seltzer from Northern 7. Experience with friends at 34.822 degrees north, 111.7894 degrees west.
I know exactly where that is.
Enjoy responsibly. I did good.
I mean, you read off those numbers and I'm like, dialed it right in. I know where that is.
That's kind of my favorite.
Yeah. Hopefully it's my favorite because
I had this one at home the other day. It's the only one I had.
I could drink the second one, the kiwi lime. The first one, we talked about this. So like
funny,
ginger lemon
Yeah.
is not my deal.
I would definitely, I think.
I haven't tried the third one now.
I have to try this again.
Okay.
There's a little splash in there, so I can do a compare contrast to this one. Yeah, that's one I would have.
Yeah.
That's my favorite.
Yeah.
But this is good. I mean, like I said, I had that at home, and it was.
The prickly pear grapefruit is, I guess, one I would settle on.
I had that one at home and tried it and was like, oh, hey, like that tastes like a yummy beverage. Sometimes we've talked before about how breweries making seltzer is not always a delicious beverage.
It's very.
But I tried that and I was like, oh,
It's bubble gummy.
yeah.
It's not the grapefruit doing that. It's got to be the prickly pear. It's a little bubble gummy. I like it.
Yeah, it's good. All right.
What you got going on this weekend?
Wife's birthday tomorrow.
Yeah. But
Goat yoga.
why did you say goat yoga?
Goat yoga.
Goat yoga might be a fun thing for Arizona Beer Week.
It would be a great thing. That's a great idea. Someone jump on that. God. Yeah. It's a birthday, and my wife said, I want to hang out with goats. And our good friend Mark LaRue at the Beer Research Institute is big into hanging out with goats.
He's also big.
He's also
a tall guy.
very tall and fellow, and is a DJ, which makes it super fun.
Yeah.
I reached out to him, and he suggested we go to the Phoenix Zoo and go to the petting farm there, which sounded fun. And I also have a whole lot of people going, which I would have to pay for every one of them. And it seems like that might be onerously expensive. So,
Why are you required to pay for everyone's admission to
I don't know.
the zoo?
Felt like a thing to do. Anyways, I went to, I just kind of like explored more. And I was like, well, a petting zoo sounds nice. But gosh, there's other petting zoos like the Superstition Farms in Mesa. They have a petting zoo. And then I remembered goat yoga existed. And so then I did a little Google search. And apparently the Arizona goat yoga is the one that was on the, what's the Shark Tank?
Okay. Yeah.
There's a Shark Tank thing.
Huh. Okay.
I know. I don't know. So I went to look that up. And not only, this is super secret. This won't come out until after tomorrow. So we're fine. Not only is it goat yoga, it's also bonus cow cuddling.
Cow cuddling.
I don't know what that means. I don't want to lay with a cow in the ground or anything, but like it's cow cuddling and goat yoga. It's a special bonus plus, get ready for the plus,
Yep.
80s theme, which is one of my wife's favorite things. Like 80s theme is her jam.
80s
So all these things are coming together.
So the cow cuddling is part of this 80s thing.
I believe that it's just goat yoga 80s theme
okay.
with bonus cow cuddling.
Oh, okay. So yeah. So you were asking me, I'm like, you could show up in a Gateway computer box. It would not be very easy to do yoga in a Gateway computer box. But
Right.
do you remember those?
Yeah. Do I ever? Moving into my dorm, all there were Gateway computer boxes everywhere. And one of my friends had a Mac. Oh my God. It was a big deal. He had one of those floppy disks that was like hard plastic. Wild.
I am going to see George Clinton tonight. He's 80 some years old. It supposedly is the last time they're landing the P-Funk mothership.
In Arizona.
No, forever. But I've done this, like, I swear to God, I've seen him in his last tour like 7 times. He's going to kick our asses because that's what he does. He's going to play for 5 hours. There are going to be 25 people on the stage. I guarantee you. It's going to be... I relayed the fact that the last time we talked to 100 Mile, that's the last time. So George Clinton's going to be a part of this show in some respect.
This is
until
amazing.
he passes away. When he passes away, we'll have a George Clinton send-off toast, I guess.
We'll have an unfunk.
You got it, man. So that's what I'm doing, and then I'm going to join my wife and dog up in Flagstaff so that I can shovel snow because there's another storm coming up there.
Yeah.
I went and bought snow chains just in case for the Jeep.
Okay.
So, yeah.
That's pretty serious.
Well, you know, it's not that you need them per se. I mean, obviously, if you're stuck a little bit outside Flagstaff, you could put them on. Generally, doesn't happen a lot. But if we want to go, say, around Snowball and we want to do some sightseeing with the snow, then yeah, I'd prefer to have them on.
Right.
So
Right. Oh, I remember when I lived in Boise, I had snow chains. In fact, I thought I still had them, but cleaning out the garage the last month, I didn't find them. Pretty sad, really. Like, maybe I sold them with the car. That they fit because they have to fit your car.
yeah,
But I was looking for some for my
maybe
son.
maybe you weighted down a dead body with them. That would probably work too. Sunk them to the Davy Jones locker, which no one knows what it
Wow.
is. But
Yeah. Wow. Maybe they're with the Edmund Fitzgerald. I don't know.
This stuff is really affecting me different. I gotta say, it's making you very, and me very belchy. I could tell because it sounded like you were being very emotional when you talked about your wife's birthday. But like I could tell you were holding back a burp.
No, I was not. I was being emotional. Then we're going to go to Oso for a little lunch thing. But here's the problem.
Yeah.
I reached out to our friend Kale and said, hey, who should I talk to about a reservation? So he sent me a contact. Did I contact them? No. You know why? Because I thought, wait a second, we'll just hang out at the park.
The park.
Totally good. They have food there,
Yeah.
off their own menu. It's very casual, like pick up to go. It's not table service. Fine, no problem. They have video games. They have yard games. It's good. It's like, yeah, this is what we're gonna do. But what you need for a birthday party is a home base. You could do all that stuff, but you need a home base. You don't have a home base at the park, really. So now I reached out to the reservation manager the day before, like giving her an entire 24 hours of notice. What a jerk. So we'll see. I mean, we'll figure it out. If they're able to get a place for us in the restaurant, awesome. If not, we'll figure it out. I mean, we're going to be hanging out at the park. And after that, we're going to go to Superstition Farms and pet more goats.
Nice.
And I have to go up to Flagstaff because my son is requiring me to come and watch his amazing snowboarding skills that he learned.
This weekend?
No.
Oh, okay.
But in the next couple weeks.
Okay. Yeah. Well, look, you'll get some snow. So
Yeah, it's going to be awesome after this weekend. Are they making snow every night?
I don't know if they have to because like they're getting potentially 10 to 20 inches in the next 2 days.
Right, but have they been? Do you know?
I
Do
don't
you
know.
follow that stuff? I don't follow that stuff.
Just throw on the webcam, man. They have a webcam. You can see the whole thing.
Nah, it's okay.
Snowball. Like, no, they have a webcam that shows you the slopes. Like, they have a whole report
They
and
do.
everything. So,
Yeah. Oh, hey.
Hey.
Hey,
Hi.
our good friend
Come
is
on in.
here.
Come on in, man.
It's great to see you. I think we should probably sign off.
Yeah, we're signing off.
Like, we could start another show with them later.
Maybe.
But right now,
Right.
yeah. All right.
I got to figure out what's wrong with that camera.
Well, it's new, and you don't know how it works. That's what's wrong with it. Hey, Rob, let's do our tagline. Just say anything. Just say anything. Beer is great, and
Beer is amazing.
and Arizona is the best state to live in. I just put it out there.
I'm struck by the
made it
fact that I knew you were coming, and I knew, but here you are.
All right.
Yeah.
Rob, let's do a cheers and say goodbye.
Cheers.
Bye.
Bye.
We don't have a tagline, so you're fine.
What's up, guys?
That's one of our problems. We don't have a tagline.